So once we've done the system review, we've done the overall review, we've done the system review, what do we have? When do we install it? Which things did we call the most? What we're going to now go into is a concept evaluation phase. And what the concept evaluation phase is truly digging into each of these families of concepts and seeing what they produce. The number one thing we're going to look for is yield. Yield is base production. It is not situationally dependent. All right. It's not personnel dependent. It's literally the yield that concept produced. So we want to go in and see how often did we call deep choice, what type of production did it give us, and then we want to break it down into a completion percentage and what type of yards per play, yards per attempt it operated with. From there, what we're going to do is, as we have this yield that we have now discovered, is we want to realize now what the unrealized potential is. Okay. And I'm going to explain this a little bit more in the following slide, but unrealized potential is identifying these opportunities that we have or had that will directly apply to growth as we go into the offseason. And to me, when I'm looking at a concept, two things that, really make my blood boil and make my skin crawl as a coordinator are run concepts that are into disadvantageous number situations. So down a hat where they're tackling us for a less than efficient operation. That makes my skin crawl. And watching pass concepts that are truly matched out that do not have accessibility for us to get productive completions. That's one thing that we're going to look at. The unrealized potential is also going to play into things that we may have missed or had the opportunities to conceivably connect on that we didn't. And we're going to try to uncover that. Like I said, was it open? Create advantageous matchups and situations. To me, what a play caller's duty is, play caller / play designer, is create one-on-ones at all levels of the defense. And then I take it a step further, you're creating advantageous one-on-ones. And that's from the box, okay, to the running game, to the lateral passing game, to the intermediate, to the vertical pass game. We have to create the advantageous matchups. And that's what we're looking for in, is it open? All right. It's not a nebulous term. Obviously, I think Dub Maddox wrote a great book on what is open. That's a great starting point. But to us, understanding what we're trying to achieve with this concept and where the football is supposed to be distributed to is all part of looking back and are we getting guys in advantageous situations? If we're calling concepts are getting constantly matched out, there is an issue somewhere along the way that we have to directly address this offseason. All right. The next thing we'll do within these concepts, and this could be run or pass, RPO is a really good one, but think about it as a 5-out pass concept, and you just start with a base wide cross. We want to do a hit chart. And what the hit chart is we're finding out, is the concept, quote unquote, balanced? And, God rest his soul, Coach Leach talked about balance being all five skill guys having the opportunity to touch the football within that call. And obviously the football within a wide cross concept is going to go to specific spaces depending on who you're playing, maybe more so than others. But to me, once a concept becomes complete, it is when we have shown the ability, all right, and the understanding to get the ball to all five spots or all available spots throughout the course of the season. And like I said, there's going to be a denser part of the hit chart where the ball's going, but we want to distribute the football effectively in everything that we do. We want to utilize all field space. So that's what the hit chart is identifying as too. You could take the hit chart too as going a step deeper into the personnel element of it. But right now we're literally studying the concepts that we believe in, that we installed, that we implemented, that we taught, and that we call. That's what we're looking at. And then ultimately what this is going to help us discern is, are we calling the right stuff? For lack of a better term, are we calling the right stuff? It's plain and simple. In the mindset of calling what works. All right. And ultimately what we're trying to find is where we had our success, but we're trying to understand what these concepts can consistently provide for us. So now we have a situational basis that we can call these things and understand that, hey, this is a concept that 75% of the time we are getting 7.8 yards per attempt, whatever that is. Great. That's a great open down call. There might be some third down situations that stress it, but we can conceivably understand how often that we can get that production, which is it's only going to enhance our calls when it comes to Friday night or Saturday morning. So that's ultimately what we're trying to get done in this concept evaluation piece. The thing that I think is, I'm sure other people do this, but I believe is a little bit unique and has been the driving force of this entire talk is what I call adjusted efficiency. And what this is we're trying to put a numerical value for productivity of our concepts coming out of the season. All right. And to break it down quite simply, it's a very easy process. Number one, what we're going to look for is the production. We talked about it. How many times did we call it? How productive was it? Can we get a completion percentage or a base efficiency rating in a run play? All right. What type of production did we get? The second thing that we're going to look for is the potential. All right. And I'm going to show a couple examples, but what potential is an adjusted efficiency is, let's say we're running that white cross concept and we have a clean pocket. We drop back, we're in rhythm. We throw the cross, but the cross runner boots it. He drops it. All right. Clearly in his hands, within rhythm, in the general space that we're teaching to get to. We're going to chart that, all right, as a drop and understand that that concept is open. There's a reason that we're not getting the completion or the production to go with it, but that's going to be applied into the potential. That's the same thing that we do with what we call misses from the quarterback position. Understanding your quarterback, what his skill set is, what the rhythm of the drop and the concept dictate, but understanding what is a conceivable completion that we can make. And when we miss it, we all have guys, the best guys miss it. We're going to chart that as a miss, understanding that the concept's open, we have availability, and now what we're going to use that for is to dictate how do we close that gap. And the gap closing is the production versus the unrealized potential. All right, now figuring out, are there commonalities in that gap as to why these things aren't getting completed or why we're not getting X amount of yards, which you're using as your efficiency rating in the run game, right? And that could be an extra hat. That could be poor technique. We could take that all the way back to the process of how we taught the concept, right? The most meaningful gains I've ever made within concepts I believe in is going back and learning how to teach it better. And that's all directed on me, the play caller, the play designer, understanding that that holds immense value. And if the players aren't doing it, go back to slide number 2 or 3. It's ultimately it's on us, right? We have to be able to understand how to close that gap. And what this does is this is what becomes the driving force, all right, for our improvements within our core concepts. So you can see how we're building. We're building out from the core concepts. We're understanding what the yield is, what the truest sense of production could be within a concept, where there's still juice to be squeezed in a concept, and then finding what those commonalities are to make it better. All right. And this is not for a flavor of the month or flavor of the year type of offense. This is for an offense that you truly believe in the base system that you're operating, the base concepts you believe in, deep choice we believe in. We want to find a way to continuously get better and protect deep choice at all costs, right? And usually that comes back to the teaching element. All right. So with that said, here's an example, all right, of the adjusted efficiency. So you can see I've got 4 concepts here, 4 different examples. Deep choice going into the season, the goal was a 52% completion. We went through the previous year and understood what it represented in our confidence or what it represented within our system, what type of yield we believed we needed for it to be an efficient concept, and we came up with 52%. Okay. So you go through, all right, we uncorked this thing 57 times. We were 54.4% completion, nice little ratio there. We met our goal. But when it comes to adjusted efficiency, I want to see, is there more left in this thing? All right, we had 1 drop. We had 4 misses. Our adjusted's coming out to 63.2%. All right, so now we see where the gap is. We've got about a 9% gap here in how we can close this and make it even better. When I look at the difference between for lack of a better term, the completion percentage or the yield versus the adjusted efficiency, my belief is always if we can cut that in half. All right, so you see there's 5 different deals that we felt that were conceivable completions for us. So if we could get 2.5 of those better, we're going to be a 58, 59% deep choice team, which is going to rock and roll throughout the course of the season. And it's going to become an even more of a weapon for us. And that's what we already believe in as a core value. Going down the deal, Goof operated, we had a goal of 70. We were right at 70%, but there's 4 different deals that we felt that could allow us to be an 85.2% adjusted efficiency deal. So we're going to study those, study the whole concept, watch how it plays out. What are these 2 drops? What are these 2 misses? How can we correct that? Is it in the teaching? Is it in the technique? Is it in drill work? All right, there's somewhere along the way that we can find an opportunity to close that gap. With a 15% gap, if we could get a 7.5% improvement on Goof, we're going to be a 77% operation, and one of our core concepts that we believe we can window dress a million different ways and continuously attack. 70% is already the goal, but now we have room for improvement. And these are the base concepts that we utilize year in and year out.